Okay, I know, if you've looked into my previous videos, I say that I'm trying to be more consistent with my content creation. Also, that's if you give a shit and if you actually subscribe to me and you've seen me before and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, I've recently moved and all that sort of stuff, and I've been quite busy for the past month. And I haven't really been making content or doing street photography. In fact, I haven't even touched my camera for 3 weeks up until Thursday, Saturday today. So finally I've gone out and done some street photography, and I had to get back into the motion. So I was kind of a bit not very close to people in this video, which is probably a great topic for being an introvert. Being an introvert in street photography. Also, I guess quick room tour. This is the studio, I guess. It's just a room with my stuff in it. So I guess we could check that out quickly. Just a quick B-roll montage, I guess, yeah. So yeah, that's the room. Also, before we get into the video, this was meant to be a POV. When I went to the location, Broadbeach, the GoPro battery was actually dead. So this is gonna be different structure to what I normally do, and I'm trying to figure it out. So if it's poorly done, then my bad. Now, we're gonna be quite casual about this video. So we're chilling out. You ever notice a lot of street photographers, or photographers in general, are quite introverted? I know it's crazy, right? Especially doing street photography and being out in the field and shooting a lot of people and being in crowds. You wouldn't expect an introvert to be like that, but a lot of people that do art or something like that, something relatable to art, are introverted. Now, I'm not here to talk about how to overcome it, but rather it's just more of a personal experience, I guess. Bit of a let me relate to you kind of thing. And yeah, I wrote some things out, if you're wondering what I'm holding. This is just more of my personal experience, overcoming or experiencing introversion or being an introvert while doing photography. So here's my version of that. When you're starting out, you can be quite shy and nervous around people when shooting photos, taking photos. And that can be challenging, especially when you're doing portraits or events, which I do. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's levels of introversion, but I guess here's my experience. So I'm typically a very stay-at-home sort of person, and being around a lot of people or just out in public for more than an hour is enough to exhaust me, I guess. Now, I don't know if that's just social, like a low social battery. That's normally what I call it, a low social battery. But even like, for example, today we went out to the shop. We're doing some furniture shopping, I guess. Well, we're looking at mattresses for the spare room. And it's Black Friday sales, by the way, at the moment. There wasn't many people out. We went in the afternoon. And we basically had fuck all interactions with people. But I was very quick to have the I want to go home-itis, I guess we can call it. And all I was doing was like, man, I can't wait to go home and sit down in my room by myself. So that's just a quite normal experience that can be a bit annoying to do when you're introverted, I guess, or when you don't really like socializing all the time. Now imagine pairing that with street photography with a fucking huge camera in your hand and you're pointing your camera at people. Also, if you haven't noticed, in this video, when you see photos of that session I did, I actually took a lot more still life photos, more cityscape sort of stuff, more quirky human nature thing. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't really take many photos of people, and that's because I haven't gone out and shot for a bit, so I've got to get comfortable again. So those are the photos you're seeing every now and then. the reason why I still do street photography and still enjoy it is more so the results at the end of it. What I mean by that is when I come home and I look at the photos I took and I find some good ones that I like and I edit them and they look amazing or whatever, or to my liking, I'm typically pretty happy with myself and I'm happy that I went out and did it. So that's why I keep doing it. The process is satisfying too. It really depends though. If something really crazy happens or funny or something like that, and I take a photo and I get a good photo of it, and in that moment I know I got a good photo of it, that's when the process is rewarding. But if I'm taking a random photo and I don't think it's any good, but then later I see it's good, that's when the process doesn't really count. It's not really that fun. Now, things I typically like the process of is like landscape photography, but I do find it kind of boring at the same time and overdone, in the Gold Coast anyway. There's a lot of landscape photography that I do like doing, but street photography I feel to me is more accessible, and it also gets me out of my comfort zone, which is being in public with people. Now, my biggest problem with street photography and introversion is actually being quite overstimulated. Now, before I go any further, overstimulated's a term I kind of came across on TikTok and I didn't know it was a thing, but someone kind of talked about it and I was like, oh, that's kind of what I have problems with. So TikTok's not a doctor, but if it's a thing other people have problems with, then I guess we'll just use that term, overstimulated. I don't know. So when I typically get overstimulated, it can be at the start of a session. As soon as I get out there and I realize how many people there are, it's kind of like a weird head spin, like, oh, there's so many things happening and I can't think straight. That's kind of how it works. Sometimes it happens in the middle of a session. Like for example, in this video, the photos you're seeing, when I was taking them, it was kind of more towards the end. It's further enhanced if it's hot. So my last video, I think the last video and the video before was the same day. And it was quite warm that day. So I was kind of having I just kept pushing myself because I was like, oh, I just want to go home. This overstimulation, I guess, was much more enhanced, but you push through, you get photos, you go home, happy. It is what it is. And the other problem with it is it lowers the creativity because I'm totally going 100 miles an hour. I'm not really thinking of it. And in my POVs you mightn't even notice that I'm having these issues. That's because most of the time when I'm having these problems, I shut up a lot. I don't even talk. So that's why I don't talk to some of my POVs. Or when I do, it drains me quicker. Even doing this sort of video right now, it drains me a lot. My train of thought disappears and my motivation to keep talking to the camera dwindles away. So like I've done the panning shot tutorial, which I think I took down I privated because it wasn't really going well. And there's a few other videos that I've done with more talking head sort of stuff. And it's just like, I get halfway through the video and then I kind of lose all that momentum to talk and I end up repeating myself over and over again. And even when I'm editing, sometimes I don't realize I say it over and over again for some reason, until I watch it on YouTube, of course. The final stage of the video is where I notice it. Fucking amazing. Now, this doesn't just happen when I'm out in public or shooting street photography or anything like that. This literally happens anywhere with people, I guess. When I shoot events, like weddings or birthdays or something, this hits really hard, but I mask it. Of course I mask it. I'm a dude, you gotta mask it. If you're a male, you gotta mask it. But anyway, especially those moments where it's kind of like a portrait time where group photos and then 15 minutes you're constantly directing people around in very poor lighting conditions, trying to take really nice photos of them. And then you gotta remember all the people that needs to get photos, like mum and daughter, dad and daughter, brother and daughter, and then switch it all around and that can be very, very taxing. But as soon as I finish the event and get into my car, as soon as I sit down, I feel like all my energy is restored. not just in areas with strangers, but even in family settings, like family dinners, family birthday party, going out with the family for lunch or something like that. You know, after an hour, I'm absolutely buggered and they want to keep going. They want to go somewhere else and hang out and I'm screwed. But I just say, yeah, let's do it. And then now I'm getting tired. See, this is the problem right here. Like for example, last week, I think we had a lunch. We went out for lunch and then they wanted to go do dinner. And I was buggered. I didn't want to talk to anyone anymore. I was finished. I was done. That was it. And when things are unexpected, like an unexpected dinner or something like that, or unexpectedly going out somewhere, bruh, I need to charge up for a whole week. Like you need to tell me days in advance before I'm ready to do that sort of stuff. So if you're a family member or a friend or something watching this, it's not your fault. It's this thing's fault. The brain. It's the brain. Now, obviously, you know, you gotta love the friends, you gotta love your family, but I need just small quantities of them. I'd like to hang out with them more and more and more, but unfortunately I get the I want to go home itis a lot quicker with people. And it always happens a lot too when there's a lot of talking involved. Like if I was with, like from the people you've seen in these videos, like Mark or Matthew, when we go out and do street photography or something like that. At the start, I always told them, let's not have a coffee at the start and a coffee and a chat at the start, because when I get out, then I'm less creative because I'm already turned off. Like I'm low battery. Give me a power bank, brother. Right now I'm experiencing it. And I think when I experience it with the camera, it's a bit weirder. It's weirder how it triggers. I think it's because no one's actually there. Like it's a camera. Like I'm talking to a camera, to no one. On the contrary, I do if someone's like a noob or something, like someone, like just for example, the other night, one of my friends wanted to get a camera and he asked me what he wanted, what he should get, what he should look out for. I talked to him for 2 hours straight and I wanted to keep talking. It's because there's something I know and love, that I do a lot, that I would like to teach people. I like to teach people things. That's one thing I like to do. That's one thing that can get me talking for a long period of time. Not in a video form, more like in a real social setting. It's fun to give them my knowledge. And if people, like I DJ as well, if people ask me about music or DJing stuff or something like that, I'm so happy to show them how to do it. I'm so happy to tell them what to get, recommend them stuff, whatever. And that's what I wanted this channel to be more, or not more. Well, I didn't want this channel to actually be like a tips channel. I just wanted to be more of a content creation channel, taking photos. And the problem is when you make those tips and tricks videos or recommendations or reviews, it really just makes your channel look like we're only talking about gear rather than the art itself. And that's a problem with me, because a lot of those videos, like for example this video, it's actually the most amount of views on this channel, and mostly because it's just me talking about the 35mm lens, which is still bae. Like I love it. That video is still pumping people out. It's still reaching to people. It's still reaching out to people, and it's still finding them through the YouTube. I just spat everywhere. Through the YouTube algorithm, and that's great. But my photography style hasn't changed then. But well, I mean, it has a little bit. So it's kind of like old work. Even though I do like some of the images there, I feel like it's not a representation of what my videos are now. So I mean, this is totally different. You've never seen this type of video. I hope this video is not too long. I hope you enjoyed the photos there. As I said, there's a lot of still life photos. So yeah, and that's kind of a style that I want to dive into more, but I just don't have the eye for it, I guess. Mostly because the street photography thing of being close to people is kind of getting harder. Well, not harder, but I think I've hit my barrier of how close I want to get to people. And I want to focus on other things in street, but I still will try and get close to people when taking photos, especially if it's interesting, especially if it's chaotic or something. So if this reaches you, if this video reaches you, and you like some of these photos, and you like street photography, go check it out. Go check out my Instagram. Also, I just dropped it should be dropped by now. I'm dropping some calendars for 2024. So if you want to order those, I'm using Gelato to use calendars to make the calendars, and it's about 20 Australian dollars. If you're in Australia, it costs about $10 to ship, depending on where you are in Australia, I guess. And that'll be a nice thing to see if anyone wants to buy them. I have one Gold Coast one, so that's mostly like seascape stuff. A few like architectural shots in that one, and I have one for the Burdekin, which if you didn't know, it's in North Queensland, and that's where I used to live. So I took quite a few photos there, and I kind of like the Burdekin one a lot more. It's because it's some of my later landscape, seascapey sort of shots. I actually can't wait to go back to the Burdekin next year. I'll probably go in the middle of the year again when it's winter, because it's too fucking hot there now. There's a lot of places that I didn't take photos of, so definitely going to go back there and do the same thing. But if you like street photography, check out my other videos. They'll come up now on the screen. Oh look, they're here. If I time that right, that'd be so good. Subscribe, all that stuff. Oh, actually, when you say subscribe, the little button thing lights up. So if that lights up, then actually click it. Now remember, go out and take some shit photos, because if you don't take any shit photos, you won't get any good photos. And that's how you won't get any good. See you later.